Today's news story is all about the color green. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Big Chetty. We've got some more gaming news, gaming related news, and that's right, it's all about the color green or green related things. Kind of a bad segue, kind of a bad joke, but the first thing I want to talk about today is we've got an official announcement of who is going to be in the Zelda live action movie. Playing Princess Zelda, we have Bo Bragison, someone that I am not very familiar with. And playing Link is Evan Ainsworth. Again, another actor I am not very familiar with. That being said, they seem like good fits. Both actors look like good fits for the role. They're young, fresh faces. The Zelda actress, she looks pretty cute. So you know what? Yeah, why not? I think it's a good fit. I think Miyamoto and a bunch of other people at Nintendo, I think they know what they're doing with this one. And I pray to God that it's going to be good. Because I think people have been clamoring and asking for a Zelda movie for a very, very long time, and it feels good that we're finally getting one. My only criticism or question, I guess, concern, if you will, I would ask why it's live action, though. I really enjoyed the Mario movie that came out a couple years ago. I thought it was super fun. I think it was a good movie for all ages, young and old. I've been a fan of Mario for a long time, so it felt really cool to see him on the big screen. But the movie was funny, it had a decent story, and it also felt like they were setting up something. Just a little bit. That one scene with Peach and Mario, and they're in the field, and she's looking up into the stars, and they're talking, oh, there's many worlds out there, and the whole movie's about them like going through the warp pipes and going through different worlds. It kind of felt like they were hinting at other gaming worlds, in my opinion. I mean, to me, it kind of felt like they might be setting up some sort of cinematic universe like Marvel did way back in the day. What if Nintendo is setting up the animated cinematic video game universe? I guess that yeah, sure, that makes sense. Point being is, in the Mario movie, it looked like they were setting something up, and now with Zelda being live action, I don't know how that's going to fit together, and my headcanon is that's what they're doing. They're setting up that universe, which I think would be so cool. I think that would get people really interested in seeing movies again. Say what you will about the Marvel movies. Every criticism is completely valid, but people want to see them, especially when it's people they want to see. I know that sounds so. People want to see the stuff they want to see. But like what, 2016, 2017, those Avengers movies, bro, asses were in seats. And that's kind of, to me, what theater is all about. Is it's summer, it's hot out, the summer blockbuster is out. Let's go see it. And I think that would be very cool for video game movies, especially some video games and video game characters that had video game adaptations, and then maybe now they could fit into like Nintendo's video game universe. I don't know. That's my headcanon. Anyway, point being, we got both the actors for the Zelda movie. They look great. It looks like it's going to be a fun movie. I would just prefer if my headcanon was canon and we were getting an animated cinematic universe. But let me know, guys, what you think. The other green thing I wanted to talk about is uranium rock, or at least sort of. I want to talk about Fallout. There's some Fallout news, actually. So it's been rumored very recently that Fallout 5 has been greenlit. It has been greenlit for production. That is very exciting for me because I am a massive Fallout fan, like many others out there. And it's time for a new one. Fallout 76 certainly did not scratch the itch that we were looking for, and it's time for a new adventure. Now, of course, when any rumors come out like this, you got to take it with a grain of salt because it's a rumor. You don't know what's happening. It could be true, but we're not really sure. On top of that, Xbox has been going through some growing pains recently. You could argue that they've been going through growing pains for like the last 5 years, but there's been some turmoil over at Xbox and Microsoft Studios. So the massive Xbox layoffs, I don't think are helping anybody. So when they say Fallout 5 has been greenlit, does that mean they are starting pre-production on it? Like they've officially greenlit the project, here's the money, start making? Like, are they just doing concept art right now? Like, we don't even know what stage they're in. Like, there's so much in the air. It's so early, and the game is quite literally years away. We're still waiting for Elder Scrolls 6. Where is that? Nobody knows. In my opinion, if this is Fallout 5 being greenlit, or this next Fallout project is being greenlit, I would like to argue that it's not the next direct sequel in the Fallout franchise, but it's probably the Fallout 3 remaster that's been heavily rumored. Because people said it was coming out, but not for a long time. If they're remastering Fallout 3, maybe next year, maybe 2027, I don't know, but that makes more sense to greenlit that project and have that come out, because I think the next thing to come out from Bethesda will be Elder Scrolls 6. It feels kind of weird they would do another Fallout before Elder Scrolls. But if it is in fact the Fallout 5 or the sequel to the next Fallout series that we're all just so hoping for, I would like to take the time to talk about some things that I think would make Fallout 5 better, and hopefully you guys will come and subscribe, comment, like, tell me what you think Fallout 5, what do you want to see, what you don't want to see, and just talk about it. I want to meet some Fallout fans. We're the Fallout people. I love Fallout. I'm streaming it right now on Twitch and YouTube. Fallout New Vegas. I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube here on this channel every Saturday, and on Twitch every Saturday. So come say hi. Big Chetty streams. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so the number one thing I want to see come back for Fallout 5, bring back the junk system and expand on that. That is something I loved in Fallout 4. I loved the junk system. A lot of people might not have. I loved it. A lot of times when you play Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas and you're roaming through the desert, you're roaming through the wasteland, and you go into an old building or you go into essentially a dungeon. You go into a dungeon, and really what you're looking for is weapons, ammo, medical supplies, caps, money, and things like that to really help you on your quest. But also in Fallout, the world is quite literally littered with junk. Items that you may be able to use if you have certain survival skills or crafting skills available to you, and you're able to craft certain rare weapons and unique items that can help you along your journey. But in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, it's very situational. If you want to make a bottle cap mine, you need to have bottle caps, which, come on, you should have at that point. You're collecting caps, man. It's the whole point. It's money. A lunchbox and a couple other things like a cherry bomb and maybe some like a grenade or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the recipe is, but point is, you can make a weapon without some of the junk you find around. But however, it's very specific junk. Whereas in Fallout 4, it's extremely broad. And that kind of makes it more in depth in a way. In Fallout 4, if I walk into an abandoned office building and I find a desk fan and I find a toy car or I find some cigarettes, I can take the asbestos from the cigarettes, I can take the screws and gears from the fan, and I can take the wheels and the nuts and bolts from the car to use those parts to put a suppressor or an extended magazine on my pistol, which I thought was so cool. It gave a purpose to the junk. It gave a purpose to have more junk in the world, and it gave you a purpose to hunt for something besides weapons, ammunition, medical supplies, whatever. And it's kind of funny how you get really excited when you're like, oh, desk fan, gears, I need that. Oh, the junk can also be used for the crafting system when you're building all the houses, the settlement system, I think they called it. Preston Garvey would be nowhere if you weren't there to help him build his settlements. But I love that. I love the junk system. I love the settlement system. I love the weapon crafting. I thought it was so much fun because it was tied to exploration. It was tied to going out and finding, like, hey, I've got a bag full of typewriters right now. I'm over encumbered by over 120 pounds. Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to build so many lights out of this. This place is going to be bright. Something else I'd like to see is multiple cities. I think with PS5 or perhaps PS6 technology, because the console, because Fallout is such a big game and it has to go on all platforms, Xbox and PlayStation included, consoles do kind of dictate a little bit what the PC version of the game can do. I know that upsets a lot of PC players. I get it, but the consoles are getting very powerful. Same size as Fallout 4, to be fair. But if you can load in a city like that, you can more than likely probably load in another city. I know lore-wise, New York got completely obliterated, but fuck it. Give us New York. Chicago. I don't know. Go back to Pittsburgh. Something else I'd like to see is mix up the art styles a little bit more. And that kind of plays to my multiple city idea where you can go to New York and it's still that classic 1920s, 30s, maybe a little bit of 40s Art Deco, sort of Gothic era New York kind of thing where you have like that beautiful Art Deco architecture. But then maybe you go to Chicago, which maybe in the Fallout is a little bit more of a modern city or something. And then you see more of that 50s retro futuristic kind of aesthetic and stuff. I think Fallout 4 did a really good job. And I think Fallout 4 is generally more colorful and things pop more, which is nice. Just prettier. I mean, graphically, yes, but just the art style itself. But I think they went too far into the 1960s. And that's not going to make a lot of sense to anyone that doesn't know what the heck I'm talking about. But if you know what I'm talking about, like a lot of the office furniture and sort of the decorations in the game, a lot of it's very 1960s-esque, and I think that definitely is part of Fallout's DNA, but I think they went too far in the 60s direction. I think they had to dial it back a little bit more into the 40s and 50s. I think the 40s and 50s is like the core of the Fallout art style. There's tons of other art styles in Fallout, don't get me wrong. There's other themes and stuff like that, but I think the core is 40s, 50s. Retro, futuristic, atomic punk, sort of, and that kind of looks like 60s, I guess. But I don't know. To me, it looked a little too 60s. Hopefully, someone in the comments agrees with me on that one. They need to go back to the old dialogue system, though. That they have to go back to the old dialogue system. The old dialogue system, Fallout New Vegas, even Fallout 3, way better. The wheel they used in 4 was not very good. I think they even changed it in 76 because it wasn't very clear on what you were saying, and sometimes, in my opinion, you'd be like, "Oh, this is the positive reaction." You'd say, and you're like, "Well, that wasn't really positive." Nope, you didn't really. Okay, that's not really what I meant to say, and it kind of really watered down the whole speaking aspect of the game, the whole role playing aspect of the game, especially when like in the other games you have speak checks, not just for the speech skill, but other like science checks and stuff like that in dialogue, which I think is very cool that you get to use those skills outside of what you normally use it for, besides like fixing something for science and repair. You actually like, well, I think you need to put your resonant chamber by 3000 quantum component. Yes. Like, that's way... And like, oh, wow, you're a smart guy. Let's do that. Like, that's just so much cooler in my opinion. That is so much cooler, in my opinion. Excuse me, I'm slurring my words. I'm so excited. And speaking of which, yeah, they gotta go back to the not just the old dialogue, but maybe the old perk system, a little bit more to the role-playing aspect of the old ones, where, you level up a certain skill, and then you get to choose the perk. Fallout 4 system isn't horrible. It's not Fallout 76. But I kind of prefer the old way. If we can maybe marry those two ideas and find a compromise somewhere in there, because I will agree that, yeah, the old system isn't perfect. There are definitely problems with it. Having a level cap is also pretty stupid, even with the DLC extending it to like level 50 or something like that. 50 in New Vegas, I think 30 in Fallout 3, I think so. But they need to rework that, make it more fun, make it more rewarding. When you make a character, if you're choosing a stealthy character like a lockpick, have those options be open in the world to you, but maybe you invest a little bit in melee. Maybe there's some melee stuff that's one thing that makes New Vegas so powerful, is that there's options for a lot of characters. Sometimes you get locked out of stuff. Sometimes if you're not a high enough skill in something, you can, but then it forces you to come back later and just build and have fun. By the end of the game, you're going to be a tank anyway with maxed out skills, but while you're playing the game, while you're still leveling up, I think that's really fun, and just making choices, which are so much fun to me. For the lore girlies out there, I maybe want to see some more vaults. Usually there's about 3 or 4 per game, maybe 5 per game. And I think the vaults are really fun to explore, and there's always usually some good loot down there, a rare weapon or armor or something. I think we should use some more lore. The lore girlies want to learn. This is kind of a weird nitpick to talk about, but I think a lot of people are going to agree with me on this. Some of the weirdos, how you doing? Some of the strange guys on the internet, you're gonna be like, oh, yep, I'm here, Chetty, how you doing? Weapon animations and models, I think they need to be changed. I think a lot of models and weapon models and animations in Fallout 4 are a massive improvement. I mean, gunplay in general is a massive improvement over the other 2 games. There's a lot of weapons, animations, models that if you look closely or think about it, they don't make a lot of sense. And I think Fallout definitely has a lot of gun nuts in the community. Not that I would say I ever am one. I'm not. But like, some of the guns are cool and I want to play with them and have fun. But like, some of them look a little goofy. They look a little weird, especially like the assault rifle in Fallout 4. That one does not look right. It looks more of like some weird steampunk World War I mashup light machine gun kind of thing, which could be cool, I guess. But I think people just usually mod it out to make it look like that MG like 18 or something like that, whatever it's called. The animations just aren't very good. Whoever made it was like a left-handed shooter, so like a lot of stuff, the ejection ports are on the wrong side. On the pipe rifles and stuff, that makes sense, but I don't know, on something like the professional, like modern firearms, doesn't make a lot of sense. And more weapon variety too. That's, I think, something Fallout New Vegas did better, is that you had a massive weapon variety. Laser guns, plasma guns, laser Tommy gun, rocket launchers, so many different submachine guns, assault rifles, pistols, and maybe like have a reason to use all of those. Like, if you're going to invest in that pistol skill, maybe branch off like a revolver skill. Like, you do more damage with cowboy guns. You do more damage with maybe there's like army guns, like GI weapons. You do more like World War II GI weapons, because that's what Fallout is. It's a mix of all those genres, right? There's cowboy weapons. There's World War II GI stuff. Futuristic, there's like modern like ARs and stuff. Like, having all that mix in, and maybe choose a branch or a path with that and make those weapons more effective, I think would be very cool. New Vegas kind of did a little bit of that, like the shotgun surgeon perk, which is a pretty good perk, where your shotguns do more damage and stuff. Just sort of that more idea of give the weapons more purpose and make them look pretty, make them look better. Also, weapon legendaries. I kind of like the idea of Fallout 4 having random legendaries. and random, like you can just come across a random legendary, which is good. But maybe streamline that a little bit to make sure it's not like sometimes you pick up something and it's like, you drink more water and eat more food with these boots on. You're like, well, I'll just sell that, I guess. Maybe a little more streamlined with that idea, and then more actual legendary weapons, more unique and legendary weapons where you pick up an item, you're like, oh wow. Also, melee combat could be reworked a little bit. It is a little basic. I don't know how exactly you would do that. It doesn't have to be Ghost of Tsushima level. It doesn't have to be that intense, but maybe something besides some basic swings, maybe some more combat options there. I'm not exactly sure you do that for. I think we're just primarily a first-person game, but there's definitely options. And overall, I just think a better story and like faction system. I think that's what makes New Vegas very strong too. Is the overall story besides chasing Chandler Bing through the desert is very fun. The factions, the NCR, the Legion, like the sub factions, the Great Khans, the Boomers. But with my multiple city idea, maybe there's some factions in other cities that are the same, and then some in other cities that aren't, and some like each other, some don't. How you interact with them might be kind of interesting. Also, I thought of too for the loot system, add on to my other point from before. Maybe you can only find certain loot in one area in this city. Like there's generic loot, but maybe you can only find like this part in this city. And if you bring that piece back to Chicago from New York, it sells at a higher price or something like that. Or maybe there's a perk where it's like, hey, if you find objects that aren't to this area, maybe you can sell them for more or something like that. I don't know. Cool ideas. I don't know. Fallout 4 story is probably the weakest one overall, and I'd say their factions are probably the weakest, and I'd say 3, and then New Vegas is peak. Come on, that is just peak. And lastly, because I know this video is getting a little long, DLC. I know it's kind of crazy to talk about DLC for a game that's probably literally just pages on a script right now, but I think it'd be cool to see some DLC pre-war Fallout. I don't exactly know how that would work, but I think it would be very interesting to have maybe a 4 to 6 hour segment of gameplay of doing something pre-war Fallout. I think the pre-war Fallout world is very interesting. It looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous. That futuristic Jetson-style cities and civilization. I think it'd be very cool to have some sort, maybe a time travel DLC, where you time travel back and forth. You can see the difference between the before and after. Maybe something like that. Wouldn't that be cool? See the city before and after, and then you keep traveling before and after, something like that. I don't know. The DLCs for Fallout are always very good, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything terrible. I think the DLC for Fallouts are usually worth your money. Some of them even feel like expansions. For Fallout 4, it adds a lot of like junk and building stuff that I think really complete the game. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to stop yapping today. Those are my ideas. Let me know what you think down below. Like, comment, say hi. Come say hi in stream. We'll have some fun. Bet you make you laugh. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Okay, I love you so much. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye. Bye.